All right, so understand the 12 houses. Before we can get into that, first we need to know like how do they look like, these houses, and how do we cast them on a horoscope, right? So what I've got for you here is like three different styles of casting a horoscope used in India. The first one that you see here, this one is called the North Indian style. This one is the South Indian style, and this one is the East Indian style. Now these two are the most common ones, right? This being the most, out of all these three. So if you look at it, it is the way it is being drawn. It's called a diamond-shaped chart, and also it has got like the numbering is done here. This is like a rectangle which has been divided into 12 parts because there are 12 houses, right? Where these 9 planets that we talked about are going to be placed, and these 12 houses are going to become home of these 12 signs that we know. So what, when you see number 1 written over here, number 2 here, number 3, and so on, what you can understand from this is the interpretation is that this is the first house. Not only is the first house, but it also is the house of the first sign. So this means that this is where the sign of Aries is placed in this particular horoscope. If we make a change, and let's suppose we write 5 over here. So this means that this is a chart of a person who has Leo in his first house, or the ascendant is Leo. So the numbering will change. So now we'll erase 2, 3, 4 from here. Instead of that, we'll write it 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So that's how the numbering will change. So that's peculiar about the North Indian style. So every time, whichever number that you see in the first house, the house remains the same. That's what you have to remember. The house remains the same. It's always the first house, second house, third house, and likewise. But the signs can change, right? So if you see 5 over here, so that means that the sign, the 5th sign of the zodiac, that is Leo, is the ruling planet or ruling sign, or the first sign of this particular horoscope, or is the planet which was rising on the eastern horizon when this person was born. Of whose chart is this? Okay. Then if you move on to the second one, the South Indian style, you will see that the houses are always fixed, all right, and the signs are also fixed. That means that this is always will be the first house, the first sign, second sign, third, and likewise. However, the houses are not fixed. I'm sorry, I said the houses are fixed. The signs are fixed, but the signs are fixed, but the houses are not fixed. Wherever you see a parallel line like this, or ASE or Lagna, something like that written, in whichever box it's written, that means that is the first house. So the difference is that here this will always be the first house, but the numbering can change. Here the numbering will remain the same, but the first house will be wherever you see a pair of lines or ASC or Lagna written. So for example, this you see a pair of lines over here, and the number which is there is 7. Okay, so that means that this person is a Libra ascendant, or the planet which was rising when this person was born on the eastern horizon was Libra, right? So this numbering, it's the house numbering, the sign numbering remains common. It starts from here all the time. 1, 2, 3. This numbering will always be the same. In this chart, the numbering will not be the same. Okay. So if I want to change the ascendant from Libra, all I have to do is draw a set of parallel lines here, or write L, or write A, S, C, or something of that sort. Something you see is written apart from the regular planets. That means that is the Lagna house. Okay, that's the first house. So this is all you have to do in a South Indian chart if you want to find out where the Lagna is. And for the East Indian chart, it's simple. The first house, it's pretty much like this. The first house is always the same. It'll be here. The second will be here, and third, fourth, like this. And the placement of the planets will be done according to the sign in which they are. So the houses and the signs pretty much remains the same all the time. Okay. So this is the basic difference between these 3 types of houses. Okay, so now we know the different types of the designs or the layout of different types of style, horoscopes that are being casted in India. The North Indian one, the South Indian one, and the East Indian one. and we also know the difference between them. One important difference between these three charts is that in the North Indian style, the placement of planets, or how the movement of planet, how it's seen, is always anti-clockwise or anti-clockwise. However, in the South Indian chart and the East Indian, it's always clockwise. Okay, that's an important difference, because even if you will see in the charts, I don't know how clear it is now. If you remember the numbering that I showed you, so the numbering goes like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. However, in the South Indian and the East Indian, numbering goes like this: 1, 2, 3. So it's like, they're different. This is always anti-clockwise. These are clockwise, right? So when you're reading them, especially if you come across, if somebody makes a South Indian chart for you, so this is how you're supposed to look at it, right?